After eating a hearty breakfast, Falion met with King Mechas. The decision was quite simple. He was excited to go to space. Nothing in his life had ever been exciting until now. He could make a difference for his people. He could make a difference for King Mechas' people. He had no idea what was out there, but he knew he wanted to go. So after going over the details, a deal was finalized. Falion was to act as a scout for King Mechas. He would travel the local systems and explore the planets, and search for a new planet to inhabit. Once a proper planet was found, Falion was to create a colony and bring other glitch there, and help expand King Mechas' borders. After setting up a new colony, King Mechas would let him free. The ship would be his, and his debt paid. The trip could be quite dangerous, Falion was warned. The local planets are quite dangerous. There's a reason why none of them have gone out there. In fact, only one patrol had ever been sent out, and it never returned. Still, he was not swayed. Falion was ready to go. There was one other detail that had to remain between Falion and King Mechas. This entire journey has to remain a secret. No one else can know about it. When the colony is set up, they will pretend like the original scouting party from the glitch had set up the colony, and Falion just happened to stumble upon it. While Falion didn't want to deceive anyone in this way, it was his only way to the stars, and so he agreed to this condition. After agreeing to these conditions, Falion was told how to access the ship. Deep beneath the castle, beyond the prisons, there are several hidden chambers. He must follow them all the way down to an ancient teleporter that will beam him aboard his new ship. The ship does not have an access port other than this teleporter. Thankfully, the ship already has a few pre-programmed coordinates that it can teleport to, though he has to get close enough to the planets for the teleporter to work. And so without delaying any further, Falion heads off, ready to start his new adventure in space. As Falion boards his ship for the first time, he's amazed at the technology. He's never seen anything like this. Everything is so crisp and clean. He's used to living in the dirt. But here the furniture is well kept. There's an engine of some variety, places to sleep that are not just bedrolls on the ground. And finally, he gets a look at the stars. There's many new things that Falion has to learn about this ship, and he'll learn it in time. But for now, he's going to take a seat in the captain's chair and take a minute to think about everything he's accomplished so far. Not that long ago, he was just a standard Phenox, living in caves, eating whatever he could just to survive. And here he is, sitting in a cockpit of a ship in space. It's more than he could have ever dreamed of. Before he has a chance to settle in, Falion notices a message come across the screen. It's an SOS from a nearby planet. Unsure of what to do, he waits, and he sees that no one else answers the call. He quickly checks the coordinates he's been given for his teleporter, and he finds out that he does have access to that planet. Without wasting any time, he sets course and begins his first journey in space. He's unsure of what he'll see on the planet, but he's excited to see a brand new planet for the first time ever. Unsure of what he was getting himself into, Falion decided it was best that he left most of his possessions on the ship. He only brought with him the bare essentials. Before he could think of anything else, the first thing Falion noticed was that he was extremely warm. This planet was very hot, something he wasn't entirely used to. Next to the teleporter was an information pad. Whoever sent out the S.O.S. sent it from this terminal. After doing a quick search of the files in the terminal, Falion found out that this place was a small, remote library. The librarian was the one that sent out the S.O.S. A special book was in his possession, and someone wanted it for themselves, and he refused to sell it. When the people came to take it by force, he sent out the S.O.S. As he entered the library, Falion knew something was wrong. There was a strong odor in the air. Something was burning. Most likely books. As he attempted to enter the main gate, he found them to be locked, and he heard some rustling behind him. There was someone there, and they were not friendly. Unfortunately, despite his best efforts, Falion did not get there in time to save the librarian. He found a small grave just out back, a very shallow grave, one that had been dug recently. The only thing he could think of is how his inexperience made it so he didn't get here in time to save this poor man. It was this day that Falion vowed to get better, to not let this happen again. He must train. If he is going to be an explorer, he needs to learn skills so something like this never happens again. While Falion could have looked for the other marauders and potentially recovered whatever book they were looking for, he couldn't think of something like that right now. Instead, he headed back to his ship and searched through his catalog of coordinates that he could go to. He found a planet that he can train on, one where he could survive on it. Some of the other planets looked more inhospitable. And so he beamed down to the next planet on his list to begin his training. King Mechis and his people would have to wait. But apparently, his training would also have to wait. The teleporter brought him into a small room with an iron door and iron bars. The door was locked. He could not escape from here. He could use the teleporter to go back up, but what would be the point of that? He could hear people talking from outside the bars, and so he called for help. And eventually, someone came to his aid. After Falion told the local where he came from, the local was full of emotion. Falion was unsure how to handle it, so he simply showed him the teleporter and explained the full story. That's when Falion learned of his current fate. The teleporter didn't work anymore. The power had been used up when he came down. He's currently stuck there. More disturbing was the fact that Falion was not allowed to leave. It turns out this settlement was actually a small colony from a ruthless tyrant that lived nearby. The people here were no better than prisoners. Gates blocked each end of town, and passing it would draw the fire of the guards. When Falion attempted to leave, he was quickly explained that if he even attempts to escape, he'll be shot on sight, and so he was turned away. Falion, being one to never be dissuaded, decided to try the other end of town. What he saw there was quite similar. The locals didn't know what to do with Falion, so they escorted him to a room with no window, and told him he could stay there for a few days. But Falion refused to be a prisoner. So when night fell, he used his past training from the mountainous terrain where he came from to scale the walls of the buildings, go up on the rooftops, and make his escape. It required a great deal of patience, as the guards were quite vigilant, but eventually, during shift change, Falion made his escape. Several days later, Falion realized that he needed a more permanent residence. He had found a tower, but it was too open to the elements and the local fauna. He needed a more secure location, and so he'd set out to find a cave or something similar. As luck would have it, a couple of days later, Falion found an abandoned structure. Somebody had built a basement-like structure underneath a large tree that had burned down. This would be Falion's new home for the foreseeable future, until he can find a way to get back up to his ship. Alright, and that is where we are going to leave it off for today. Now, this video is short, and that's because it's a lot of roleplay stuff, and I did a whole bunch of off-screen progression to get to this point. It took a lot of work to actually get here, so I apologize for the long delay on this video. It's taken a tremendous amount of work to actually get to this point. I am playing this game like a standard game, so off-screen I am not cheating or anything like that. I am playing through like a normal game, and it's taking a lot of work to actually set up some of the stuff that I'm doing. But from here on out, there's going to be a lot more normal gameplay. So those of you that have been asking for that, that'll come next video. Kind of from here on out, role-playing is going to be toned down quite a bit to add in more real gameplay. And I think they'll be a little bit more enjoyable for kind of everybody because people want to see the Frackin Universe. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this episode, please leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave any kind of comments you can down below. You guys commenting lets me know that you guys actually want to see more. So the more you guys comment, the more of these videos I will put out. So thank you guys for everything. I'll see you in the next one.